See, we have a verdict. We have a verdict from the jury. In the Sean Diddy Combs trial, we're told they sent a note just a few moments ago that the jury has reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are unable to reach a verdict on count 1 as we have jurors with unpersuadable opinions on both sides. Now to break that down, count 1 is RICO, the most complex charge here that could come with up to life in prison. The remaining charges include the 2 counts of sex trafficking, 1 for each victim, Kathy Ventura and a pseudonym named Jane, and the last 2 in terms of translation into the form of prostitution. So we now know that on the RICO charge, it appears that the jury presently is hung. We do not yet know what the verdict is in the remaining counts, but suffice to say, over the last 7 weeks, the prosecution has been trying to persuade a jury of now 12 people, with the alternates out, that Sean Diddy Combs should serve the rest of his life in prison based on 5 felony counts. Now, the jurors are not...
Well, that's what we got so far. I am Franchad Pearson, your host. And hey, we go around in circles. July 1st, 2025. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Yeah, let's get a better screen. There you go. Nice smile for her. People, we might be one day away. One day away. You see, because they got to deliberate, right? They got to go home. Oh, man. It's July 4th weekend coming up. We've been at this thing for a minute. Can we just get it done? But 4 out of 5 ain't bad. A high-profile case like this, I don't think that's too bad. That RICO is a monster. You know, but as I did the research for this particular video, you can't count out those other 4. Because, hey, we don't know exactly if it's yay or nay. I said the other day he gonna get off. And I said that in relation to, I believe the powers were involved. Remind me of the case yesterday. You know the video I did yesterday? I don't even want to touch that right about now. But people, these powers, they something else. They're running this suspense to keep us in suspense while they do their dirt. What's next? What's the next trial, right? You gotta check your calendar, see what's coming down the pipe. Let's go here. Let's listen to a few analysts by lawyers. What's next?
Decision, and that is the biggest one on the table, right?
That's right, Meg. This is really complicated. It's usually for the mafia or cartels. It requires a criminal enterprise and agreement between 2 or more people to engage in certain types of criminal conduct. And so if he was found guilty of that, it would be, potentially life in prison. But the jury is unable to reach a conclusion as of yet on that charge, but is saying it has concluded a verdict on these other charges, which to me would indicate this is really bad for Diddy, because these other charges, which they seem to be agreeing on, really would be part of this RICO charge. And to me, that indicates that they're probably more on the guilty side of things for those other charges and not on this more big collective expansive RICO case.
So Chris, how important is that charge to the prosecution's overall case?
Well, it would be potentially life in prison, but those other charges carry substantial prison sentences.
We'll get into that. Let's check it out.
Decision. They are adjourning for the day. They will be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. to resume those deliberations. But I want to get back to these counts. We've got 5 counts here, the most severe of which is that racketeering conspiracy, which carries a maximum sentence of life in prison. But counts 2 and 3 are also quite severe. And count 2 does also have that maximum sentence of life in prison as well.
Yeah, and it's not just, I know oftentimes when you talk in the news, it's easier to talk about the max, but oftentimes the minimum is the most harsh, because for those sex trafficking allegations, sex trafficking either Cassie or Jane, there's a minimum of 15 years. And I think that's very important when you're talking about anyone, but especially when you're talking about a 55-year-old. Because you're talking about if Sean Combs is found guilty of even just sex trafficking Cassie, at best, he's not going to be able to get out until he is 70 years old. Now, when it comes to the feds,
you serve about 85% of your sentence. You know, there's a case I can't talk about, but there was somebody who was in the slammer back in the day. He was on an island, hint, hint, and he wound up going to prison. Then he escaped. Yeah. He escaped through a rope. He had a rope. Oh boy, I tell you, I'm not counting that out. I look for all facets of the drama. You see, I told a friend of mine the other day on the phone, I'm like, you know what? Ever since we had the National Enquirer and the Sun and the Globe, remember those? Do they still have those tabloids out? Put a newspaper out. Are they still out? I said, ever since then, it appears that America and the world has got to feed the beast. What do I mean by that? I believe they all work together. They got to make money. So they got to have the story continuous so everybody can get paid. You feel me? And wouldn't it be something if all of a sudden Diddy just, just did something crazy? Man, how many papers would that sell? The networks would be all over that. Then again, if he get off, that would be a good thing too. I guess you can't win for losing, but I don't know. What I look at is in the music industry, how can I say this without giving it away? When you're unalive, they can make a lot of money off you. But you're really not unalive. You just go to this special place where they take you to. You feel me? Now check this out. Little analyzation. We can't do this without TMZ. Look, y'all, we can't. They're at the top of the gossip thing, right? That's what they do. Check it out. Then again, it could be very good analytical news. Check out what he's saying here.
Go back in tomorrow and know that they are up against a 4-day holiday, that the courts are closed on Thursday, the federal courts. The judge will open the courtroom if the jury hasn't reached a verdict on Wednesday. They could deliberate Thursday. It's not always the case, but jurors somehow miraculously reach a decision when it comes to butting up against a 4-day holiday. It just happens. They don't want it held over their heads for the weekend, for a long weekend. So that's one possibility, that they just all come together. Maybe the more likely possibility is they come back tomorrow, I don't know, at 11 or noon, and they say to the judge, we are so deadlocked, we cannot reach a verdict. The judge could then say, it's called the Allen charge, which is where he gently badgers them to reach a verdict. He could do that, but my guess is if they don't come in by the end of the day, tomorrow, and they come back toward the end of the day and say, we're just hopelessly deadlocked, the judge will read the 4 verdicts where they were unanimous and declare a mistrial as to racketeering.
And maybe just take the 4 out of 5. Now here's right out of a lawyer's mouth.
See what the judge does.
Okay, deliberations continue, but if, and I say if, the jury remains hung on the racketeering charge, could the judge consider a mistrial on that count or accept a partial verdict and proceed to sentencing on the 4 resolved counts?
The judge can
do a partial verdict where he can receive the verdict for 4 counts, and if Sean Diddy Combs is found guilty of any of those, then proceed to sentencing. Or give the prosecution the decision, say, hey, do you want to retry this case, or do you want him to be sentenced on the other 4 remaining counts? Because they would really reserve sentencing for whether or not the prosecution wants to retry the second case, which he would not get out on bond perhaps, waiting on an appeal or sentencing on those.
And before we go, we have 2 days before court's out because of July 4th. So if you look at a time frame, do you consider the jury deliberating throughout the day tomorrow and possibly coming back Thursday? I know it's anyone's guess, but if you're thinking about a jury mindset, do they want to get out of there?
Jury mindset, come in with a holiday, these people want to go home. They want...
I think that's it. They want to go home. We're going to get it tomorrow, y'all. No later than, what's that? No later than Wednesday. It's going to be done. I think that's what I said. Now, here's a video I did 9 months ago. This is the one I was telling you about the other day I couldn't find. It's titled Love versus Everybody, the Bad Boy Indictment. In this video, you're going to see his entourage and family going to the court. You're going to see number 22 on the back of a jacket and an X. This might be the biggest sign. You guys, welcome new subscribers. I teach the 5 C's of clues, codes, colors, confirmation, time, and conclusion. This might be it. I said this might be it. Check it out.
Love versus everybody. Love.
And that's what he calls himself. P. Diddy got so many names to call himself Love. Now check it out.
Versus everybody in Gematria. Ordinal comes out to 216. 216, why is that important? The 216th day of the year is August 4th. We have players involved in our world, people. I'm teaching that Barack Obama is the orchestrator and the possible antichrist. He's orchestrating things in his last days. Trump is the illusionist. Biden is the destroyer. Kamala means lotus flower. Out of the lotus flower comes the sun god Ra. Darkness will bloom that sun god. When you see these numbers of August 4th, meaning the 216th day of the year, because 216 was on that sweatshirt over that pullover. 216, love versus everybody. 216, August 4th. Barack Obama was born August 4th. Is that a coincidence? August 4th. He's also our 44th president.
We're 5 miles of fairway.
Okay, we'll cut to that and we'll go straight back into, we'll see the jackets in the 22. Pay close attention, watch this.
Like I said, this is gonna blow your mind. Amari, 22. And the X. 22 and the X. For those of you who have been with me for a while, you know X is the 24th letter of the alphabet. You know that when I teach X, that means somebody's about to be destroyed. A person, a family, a nation, or something. And 22 is the number that is on the forehead in the cartoon. I Pet Goat 2. Barack Obama is a cartoon figure, and he sweats a V. V is the 22nd letter of the alphabet. In the cartoon, after this, the nation begins to crumble. The American flag shrivels up and is cut into pieces. V is disaster. How is it that these people are accommodating P. Diddy's son to court? He just so happened to have on 22. And you also have an X. It's deep, y'all. Like I said, this P. Diddy thing, it will end, and it won't end well.
Now that's what I said then. What do you think? What do you think? Give me your honest opinion. Will he go to jail for a few counts? Or will he go to jail for life? Or will he not make it? Or will he be free? Let me know, people. As the drama goes, I'll cover it. God bless. Have a good evening.